This is a dope card. One of my favorite cards to start it off. Oh boy, how we doing? Hey guys, your favorite, another discussion video. Today we'll be going over yet another update on the Japanese and Chinese market of what's going on in Pokemon. You know, why aren't things selling on eBay? What's specifically going on in the market, and the future of what possibly is going to happen and how to set yourself up for success. Hey guys, Slade, grade level collectibles here. Driven by passion, motivated by nostalgia to sell, trade, and educate people on the world of collectibles. You like my little intro? It seems like all YouTubers do that, so I guess I'll follow the trend. So today I wanted to talk about just an update of what's going on with the Japanese and Chinese market and what we've been seeing since I made my previous video on that. So to get started, I'll show you the recent sales and where these collectibles are at now and the market trend. So first, let me go over this main graphic right here. I'll scoot over so you guys can see it real quick. So this graph is what I went over last time as well, and when I talked about it, it was right on the cusp of going down, and right now we have went from a top end of about 64,000 yen so to about 54. What does that mean? So this is the red line is the average sale price on Mercari Japan, as just the Japanese market of a per card, and the gray blocks that you can see is the quantity sold. So you can see on that May 29th-ish type of day, May 29th, May 30th is when the top, quote-unquote, top of the market happened, where everyone started to kind of sell off. And these are not like stocks. So what happened really, what kind of spiraled all this kind of out of control is when it started to wane. You know, people were completely out of money. You know, they were like, you know, I can't really buy anything else or whatever. You know, people saw this and they're like, oh crap, my stuff isn't selling. I'm going to go to, you know, Magi, or I'm going to go to, you know, these card shops and I'm going to sell my cards. Well, this started a huge thing where everyone started to do that, and then the card shops were like, hey, sorry, we can't take any more cards. Pretty much you can't sell your cards right now. And that kind of spiraled. You can see how it went a little bit down and then just completely just kind of, I mean, not completely, it's 30% right now down from the top of the market, and that's going to be any kind of boom type of thing. There was no natural type of growth for these cards. It was just shot straight up. So, you know, something that shoots straight up in a short period of time can, in fact, you know, go down in that period of time as well. Not saying that's the case, just saying why it kind of had that dramatic was because of multiple different things, being that the card store said like, hey, you know, we can't take any more right now, you know, because the market just has to stabilize. Because you got to think of it, the card shops, they are buying these cards to not lose money. They are buying these cards to potentially resell them. And if the market is changing, they're like, okay, hold on. You know, we're not going to take on any more risk on buying more cards. We're going to see where it lands, and then we're going to open back up. So this only happened, them closing the doors for certain cards to, they call it recycling in Japan, recycling cards. But anyway, pretty much putting your cards in, they'll pay you out, such that. But anyway, this only happened for maybe, you know, a week of that. But that's kind of all that it took to bring down market sentiment of like, hey, you know, maybe these prices are a little inflated. And if you're coming from any type of economical background, studying the economy, econ type of background, you'll know that this happens in the stock market too. This happens in a lot of different other places where certain things are overvalued or certain things are undervalued, and what's in between it is the intrinsic value. Pretty much meaning that what's the right now, you know, at market valuation of this item, and the only way to look at that, is to know those numbers, is looking backwards. So maybe a year from now we can see, okay, what was the actual intrinsic value, the actual value of this item? And it's really hard to calculate and everything. You know, there's all these formulas or whatever, but at the end of the day, meaning that these cards were a little overvalued, pumped up, and the market corrected. That's what the market does. So anyway, it's dropped down to about 54,000 yen, which is around $450 in the U.S. of the average sale. And you can see that there's like a new norm now. You know, there's a steady buying of cards now at this level of interest. So we've kind of settled, I would think, at a new norm. And that's what I wanted to bring up. Just what's the new norm now? I do not think 100%. I do not think that all this is going to go straight back down to around 32,000 yen average sale price. I think maybe the lowest will be 50,000 yen for the intrinsic value. I would say. I think with any type of market, there's an overcorrection on both ends. So when everyone sold off, at the very top of 64,000, there was an overcorrection of that, and then I think there's an overcorrection on the bottom end as well. But again, this is all numbers. Collectibles are people in this market, they know it's very illiquid, and it's illiquid because there's an emotional attachment to it, as well as not everyone can buy these very exclusive items and kind of just pay hand over fist, because there's going to be really liquid times, which was, a month ago or this past month, or even right now with certain Japanese cards, really liquid. Like if you wanted it gone and sold, boom, put it on eBay for a 48-hour auction, boom, you get approximately around the value. But if it is any type of English right now, English cards, English alternate arts or whatever, the craze right now is Japanese cards. That's what it is. People are very liquid on Japanese cards and not so much liquid on the English side. And that's what's going to happen with the world of collectibles. There's going to be times of great, price changes, and there's going to be times of stagnant waters. So that's kind of the update of the Japanese market, where there was an increase and then it's corrected, and now it's it's still at a high. I mean, it's only gone down about 30% of its all-time high. It started at 32,000, it went up to 64,000, now it's at 54,000. So about 30% change, and I think it's not going to go much lower with that. You can quote me on that and everything, but I think there's just so much interest now in Japanese, and so many eyes are being open to like, oh wow, these are all exclusive artworks, they look phenomenal in Japanese. And you can really see that in, like I said last video, in Facebook, or a lot of these low barrier to entry type of areas that new collectors get into, that they are posting every other day like, hey, I'm looking for Japanese, and a lot of people in the comments are like, oh wow, I never knew this card existed, holy cow, this is my new chase card, all that type of deal. So it's very interesting to see the change in the interest over the past 4 years that I've been doing this, where nobody really touched Japanese. And I mentioned this before, but nobody really touched Japanese. It was all the cheaper option than the English version. And, it was during that time of the great boom of WotC. That's the whole thing. And, what has WotC been doing since the whole boom of 2020? Stagnant waters. Which could, there's a lot of things with that could speculate of like, hey, WotC is now undervalued, or it's been that stagnant water for a long period of time where people are not even viewing that area. But that's a whole nother spiel. But I wanted to touch on what I discussed last time, which was, there's going to be a correction, but these cards that have increased in value like 2 times. Let's say an easy one, Mimikyu, Munch Mimikyu. It went from an easy $335 to $4,000 to straight up to $10,000, $8,000 to $10,000, and that was the new norm price. And if you look at it now, like I'll show you on the screen here, you just had recent sales of $8,000 pretty much. And so people are like, oh yeah, that's still lower than the recent $10,000 sale it had, and it even had I think it was $12,000 sale. But those items are a lot less common in the marketplace, and a lot less people are going to be willing to shell out that Mimikyu to sell. And it's just because there's just not a lot of them out there to make the price of the card go down. So you're gonna have these prices that stick, just like all the Festa Pikachus. I'll show you here, right here, of all those cards. There's a ton of them. There's a ton of them on the market right now, but they're not budging. They really aren't. And some of them are at their all-time high, like the 2017. It's now, sold recently for $1,500 or something, but something, a day or, a few days prior, it was about 5 or 6 auctions that went off that it was around $2,000. And then you have the 2014, which is around $2,800 was the last previous sale. Obviously, you got the 2016, which is it just pulled in $12K, which is crazy. But you have a lot more interest now in these cards, and you have so much more demand than there is availability on the market. There's supply, and so it's just going to keep those cards up there. Where not every card is going down 30% in value. There are a lot of cards that have maintained that valuation, and it's because of the rarity, of the exclusivity. Geez, don't even look at the waifu cards. All those have the crazy stonkage and everything. Some of them are halved, really. It's the legit halved in price. And some of it's due to the buy price by Magi and some of these other stores, and a lot of it's due to there was this hysteria of, I would say, of waifu cards. Everyone was so fixated on the cards that they didn't really take into account and be like, is this card really worth $20,000? Yeah, so you have a huge correction, which is the waifu cards, and then cards that have kind of stuck the landing with these new interest cards. So you got the Festa Pikachus, you got the Munch Pikachus, or Festa cards, which are the Pikachus, and then the Munch cards. Some of them, even I said with the Munch cards, Mimikyu's going to stick. Pikachu is more likely going to stick, but there is a little bit more. It has come down a little bit in value, around $36,000, or sorry, $3,600. That'd be great. It's $36,000, but $3,600. But you have cards like Rowlet that was selling for $800, $900 that now has come down to $400 and $300. It was the least desirable card out of all the line. Psyduck is kind of went up a little bit. It's still at 1,200, 1,300. And then Eevee, I'm surprised it hasn't come down that much. It's maybe at, I think, 1,600, which is still a lot higher than what it used to be. It used to be like $600. But that's probably due to the Eevee craze and everything. So there have been cards that have stuck the landing that are still up there in price. A majority of my cards, because the only cards that I collect and to buy and resell and everything are cards that are very hard to maintain, like the Yokohama Pikachu cards, and specifically the ones, the 280 and 281 that were only given out in the premium box, the premium set box. There's just not many out there with those cards, not many at all. And me and I think Atlas, which is on eBay as well, we're the only two people selling those cards, and the minimum price is $998, and my price is like $1,400, just because I don't want to sell them that fast. And that's a respectable price, because those premium collection boxes of the Yokohama, it was from, from 2019, 2018, and those boxes sell for $2,500, $3,000, something like that. So even to get the cards raw, you have to spend that much money to get them raw, and it's never guaranteed PSA 10. I've gotten plenty of PSA 9s back that were literally packed fresh. I cut them out, but it's because of the centering. Centering 9, okay, yeah, it is what it is. So you're going to have a lot of cards that, because of the rarity, exclusivity, they keep up with that price. Same thing with trophy cards. There's just not a lot of them out there, like the Master Scroll that sold for $37,000 in China. $37,000 in China, which previously sold for around $22,000, maybe not even like a month ago. But it's because there's only, in PSA 10, I think there's only 23 of them. And so if nobody sells and one person's like, hey, I'll take 40,000, that's the cheapest option. It's only when you have items like the infamous Charizard V that came in the Elite Trainer box of, oh man, Champion's Path, Machamp's Pain, as some people call it. Anyway, you have thousands. I think that's the most graded card in not Pokemon history, but
oh my god, bro.
in a law, it's up there. It's up there in the most graded card ever. In a PSA slab or even CGC slab or whatever, just the most graded card. And so you have those cards that have just stayed at the bottom of the barrel because there's so many people that are like, yeah, I just want my money back. Yeah, I'll sell for $20. Yeah, I'll sell for $30 or whatever. And it's just going to stay at that price for like ever. But then you have cards like the Kanazawa Pikachu, which is here, beautiful card, beautiful chef kiss type of card where, because of its release, Kanazawa Pikachu came out in 2020, and because of the artwork and the exclusivity and everything, people are like, this card is not going to move. Not going to move for 3-5 years. Not going to move. What did it do? What did it do? It shot up from $60, more than doubled. I've sold a couple of them at $200, and it's again, I couldn't predict it, but it's because of, there's a large amount of them on the market, and there's a large amount of them graded, but not nearly as much as the Charizard V or as many other cards. But you have those cards that are more sensitive to market changes. So they maybe have dropped from $200 to now $150, but still, it's still up from the previous, just the norm price. And you're going to experience that throughout this entire market. So off to my rambling of Japanese market, the Chinese market, because you can really see once the hysteria of like waifu cards and everything have kind of taken away, and people have taken away the rose tinted glasses, it really comes out to like, okay, what cards are actually valuable? We had the the Battle Day Lily that wasn't a promo that came out in China, but it was because it was the same artwork, and it recently sold for, what did it sell for, $120,000 or something crazy, and this is Japanese. But in the Chinese version, it just was a set. It just came out as a set. I think it was a Dreams May Come set that came out in Chinese, and this is the simplified Chinese, which is mainland China. Anyway, so a lot of people were speculating, hey, this is the only area or only way you can get this card from this set and this artwork, because it was only printed in Japan. And a lot of people were buying up this card, especially PSA 10s, to either maybe flip, or because they couldn't get the artwork of the Japanese version, they'll go to the Chinese version. What happened? That because of first of all, Chinese, the market's not really fleshed out all the way. And so there's a lot of, it's also susceptible to market swings. And again, the rose tinted glasses have come off, and as you can see right here, it recently sold for about half of what it was selling for maybe a month ago. So even though it was crazy overpriced in my eyes, it was $6,000 it was selling for. And now it recently ended at like $3,500 or something. So that is just a sentiment of, the hysteria of these waifu cards. Everyone's just chasing to grab, cash grab type of thing. And then there are other people that were genuinely interested in collecting this card and getting this card because they just could not afford the Japanese alternative. And it could be, again, the underappreciated, overappreciated, or the overreaction. I think it is a little bit of an overreaction of the 6,000 to 3,000, but who knows? Time can only tell with that. The set has come and gone. You know, there's only a certain amount of it out there. It's not like they printed them into the ground of this. That was the traditional Chinese, so it wasn't even the simplified version that came out in mainland China, and this was in 2019. So whatever's out there is out there. They don't print anymore, whatever. But so many people were submitting them to PSA at one time. People were fire selling them, whatever, and nobody just has $6,000 just to, you know, sling down. And because of this this swing, some people are hesitant at even buying any cards right now. So a lot of those coming down to the Battle Day Lily selling for almost half of what it sold for about a month ago. Yikes. But you also have cards like the Chinese box, the Lily box that came out, where that's kind of been pretty healthy. At right now, there hasn't been any recent sold. Maybe 2 weeks ago, it sold for about $1,500. What it was selling for, about between 1,000 and 2,000. That's pretty much what the range was for selling for the PSA 10. This is again the Lily card that everyone was crazy over. Again, it sold for, I think it was like $20,000 or $30,000 in this whole hysteria thing. But again, where's the cheaper option? You can spend $1,200 on the same artwork, just different, same textures, same kind of quality, different background, different back, which is the English back, but it's going to be obviously a different language as well. Or you can, spend $30,000 on the Lily card or whatever from in Japanese. So it just makes sense. Some people just jumped to the Lily. It was more accessible and everything. I think that card will maybe flirt with $1,000 here soon, especially in PSA 10. Obviously, PSA 9 is around, I would say, like $600, $500. But anyway, that's still pretty healthy. It wasn't as hysteria as the Battle Day Lily of the set card with the Chinese market. I think. Again, I think it'll come down a little bit, but it'll still settle around that. And maybe go up over time as well, because, whatever's printed out there is out there. Unless they come out with more Chinese Lily boxes, then yes, it'll come down probably around to like $600 for a PSA 10. Who knows? Time will tell. But that is what's going on with China. China is, especially the higher end cards, like the prize cards and trophy cards of China, that already has a small amount of people that want to buy those cards anyway. So the Chinese market is kind of it's kind of tied to the Japanese market, but at the same time, it's not. It's especially if you're talking about those high-end cards, those prize cards and everything of in Chinese, in simplified Chinese. It's going to be a little bit different. You haven't seen those market swings like you've seen in Japan. So what am I doing going forward as a Pokemon business and a collectibles business? Honestly, I'm just treating this as an anomaly. There was a huge spike in demand, huge spike in, interest in these cards. I sold as much as I could to my eBay store and outside of it, and I did really, really well. I bought things that I probably shouldn't have. It hasn't, skyrocketed down. I didn't buy the Battle Day Lily or whatever, all that type of deal. But I did put money into things that at the time everyone was just super hyper focused with the waifu cards. They're super hyper focused in the EV Unagaba EVs, and I was like, okay, how can I best utilize this cash influx that have come in, and best utilize it so that in the future, when it dwindles down, the interest kind of dwindles, I'll still be able to sell some stuff. And so I have kind of branched off, and I've been branched off for a while, if you look at my store, I don't just sell Pokemon. It's a huge part of my business, 100%, but I still have different collectibles that I sell. I buy and sell. So could be collectibles like there are these collectibles called Smeeskis. Those are awesome. And different Japanese things, as well as I do Lego, Don't really sell much, but it's consistent. It's over a long period of time. I sell a consistent amount of them per month. So with this, I'm going forward as business per usual. So I'm buying the things that I always bought, certain staples of mine, that certain Pikachu promos, certain things that I feel undervalued, and it all kind of dwindles on my experience, my feelings of a card, my analyses of a specific card, and what I think would do best in the future. I have a whole type of formula that I work out. Like, okay, if I buy a raw card at this price, I want to sell it I want to grade it and sell it at this price, and this is how much profit margin I'd make from that sale. And you tie in different factors or different risks that you could mitigate, and you don't want to be too risk heavy. So again, this is an unprecedented time with what's going on in the market. The market tomorrow or the market next month could start going up again, and then there's new interest now. I think going forward there's a new staircase. If you think of collectibles over a period of time, it can dwindle at the same price for years. But once there's a spike in interest, and it literally could happen within a week, spike in interest, new price. And that can do the opposite effect too, where there's dwindling in price, it falls down to a new set floor, and then fall down new set floor. But the good thing about Japanese is that the floor is in Japan. So I'm always buying at the floor, and America buyers and or sellers, yeah, they may sell them lower, but honestly, Japanese is the floor. And over here, it just doesn't make sense to sell something lower than what you can get in Japan, because you're either selling at a loss or you're just fire selling, and you just need to get rid of them real fast, and that never will prolong over a long period of time. So again, going forward, I'm just doing business as usual, just going with my feelings and thoughts about certain cards, not really FOMOing into a certain amount of things. I'm looking at the characteristics of cards, the characteristics of the cards that I'm wanting to get, of what I have inventory of. And if you ever want to know, what cards I think that are valuable and that are good to put money into, just go on my eBay store. I don't want to tell you what to put money into and everything. I'm a business, I'm already biased. I can't really. I don't want you just to listen to some guy on the internet to like, oh, what do I need to put my $10,000 into or whatever. But honestly, just collect and buy what you like. Because at the end of the day, if my business goes under and nobody wants to buy Pokemon cards anymore, all the cards that I've acquired, I like them. I find great amusement as well as love for these cards. That's why I buy a lot of multiples, because I buy multiples, I grade them all. If multiple come back at 10, I'm keeping a 10, and then I'm selling the rest to continue funding my business. So all the cards that I put money into, I believe in, and that if everything falls apart, I will still cherish. Because at the end of the day, this is an emotional type of business. Collectibles, I try to keep emotion out of it, but at the end of the day, these are collectibles. These are emotional driven items. They're not stocks. They're not just numbers on a page. They are physical, tangible items that are rare, exclusive, and collectible. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I know this was Ramble City of what I was talking about, all over the place and everything, but I'm trying to structuralize. There you go. Structuralize these videos a little bit better in the future. If you want to see more, comment down below what you would want for me to talk about, go over, whatever. I'm an open book. I've been doing this for collecting for about 6 years, doing this as a business for about 4. So I've seen now 2 market booms and kind of dwindling of interest now. I don't want to say bust, because it's not really a bust. We're still up. We're still up 70% from the previous price. of what it was, especially in Japan. But anyway, let me know of your thoughts, opinions. You agree, disagree, whatever. I'm biased. I'm a business, so I have things that I probably say in the back of the head. I'm trying to be as not biased as possible. Hashtag not sponsored or anything, but I am kind of sponsored by my own business, which is funny. But anyway, so leave a like, leave a comment. See what I can help you with. Hopefully you acquired some type of knowledge from this video, and from my experience I can share my sentiment, my feelings, and my motivations behind buying certain cards, not buying certain cards, and just being in this world of collectibles, honestly. So thank you guys. I'll talk to you guys later, and it'll probably be another week till I come out another video. So it's just what it is. So I'll catch you guys later. See ya. Bye.